There are several medicine wheels that show us how the fear feeders, the voices in our head that feed on our fears, can manipulate us and cause us all kinds of pain and suffering. You'll find some common patterns here. On the wheel of life, the south stands for emotions. On the wheel of excuses, the south stands for being afraid. We fear the unknown, failing, looking stupid, and being judged. We're afraid to try something new or unusual. We've been taught to fear the unknown. This is to keep us doing the same things everyone else is doing and believing in the traditions of our ancestors. It keeps us from stepping out of line. It keeps us from learning new ways. The Southwest stands for interpretations on the wheel of life. And on the fear feeder's wheel, it stands for competition. We can often feel like we're directly competing with everyone else for basic resources. We have a scarcity mindset. We feel as if there is never enough. Not enough time, money, freedom, not enough basic pleasure in the world. And this makes us feel like we're always competing. That's when our fear feeders take over. It's a basic fear of failure that makes us say we don't know how, we don't want to try, we don't trust ourselves. We want someone else to do it for us because if we fail, we'll be judged as not being good enough, smart enough, not trying hard enough, and so on. The West stands for the physical world and our body on the wheel of life. On the wheel of excuses, it stands for I can't. We don't believe in ourselves. Now, this is not the wisdom of knowing your limits. This is an excuse. On the fear feeder's wheel, it stands for daydreams. Our daydream is that we're incapable. The truth is that we're quite competent. It's our fear that holds us back. It's our fear that makes us believe we need to be rescued to avoid failure and judgment. The Northwest stands for planning and patterns. On the wheel of excuses, it stands for the phrase, I would if I could. This is an excuse that says either I don't want to or I'm afraid to try because I'll fail or I'll be judged. On the fear feeder's wheel, it stands for losing. This is a big fear. We believe we have a pattern of failing in the past, and we don't want to lose again. When we believe we simply aren't capable, we say, I would if I could. Instead of failing, we simply opt out. You may have noticed that many of these directions have to do with the fear of being judged by others. We want people to think we're competent and smart. Sometimes we give them more power than they deserve. For the most part, it really doesn't matter what they think of us. When we worry about the opinions of others, we're spending time on the circle of foxes. This is the medicine wheel that shows us what it looks like when we live our lives to impress others. Everything we do is based on getting their approval. If we find ourselves worrying about what others will think of us, we may be opening the door to our fear feeders. Focus on what you know is right for you instead. The North stands for wisdom and intent. On the fear feeder's wheel, it stands for beliefs. We believe we have no wisdom when we say, I don't understand, on the wheel of excuses. We're saying that we can't learn. It's an excuse because, again, we're afraid of failure and of being judged. It's hard to get angry with people who say they don't understand. Many will simply give up. And of course, that's what we're hoping for when our fear feeders use this technique. The Northeast stands for our timing and choreography. On the wheel of excuses, we believe it's too hard. This can be a form of laziness or fear of failing and being judged. Are you seeing the common patterns here? On the fear feeder's wheel, it stands for winning. When we say it's too hard and get someone else to help us, we've won. Now no one will judge us as having done it incorrectly. The East stands for enlightenment and illumination. When we say, "I'll do it later," our excuse is to procrastinate. On the fear feeder's wheel, it stands for fantasies. Some people say they will do a task later knowing full well that they'll never get around to it. Saying we'll do it later is a fantasy. This direction shows us we haven't developed our self-discipline. There's always the hope that if we put it off long enough, people will forget about it. The Southeast stands for attitude and approach. Our excuse may be that we're too tired. This can be a legitimate concern, but on this wheel, it's just an excuse. We may say we're too tired to learn, too tired to try, but what we're really saying is, I give up because I believe I'll fail. I have no energy to try again because I have no faith in myself. Sometimes our fear feeders can be sneaky. We may think we've learned to recognize them, only to find they've discovered more devious methods. What may seem like a legitimate concern may turn out to be self-sabotage. Thank you for joining me and watching my video. Please consider subscribing. And if you'd like to learn more, please join me on Patreon. Thank you.